Please help me welcome, put your volume up a little bit, kana washokona kuumbira uri koko tinongo kuhwawo zvakadero. Tibetserei kugashira muimbi wedu mukuru. He is Clive Mono Mukundu. Clive, good morning and welcome, and thank you for being on our show today.
Good morning, Folake and Stephen. Thank you for having me on your show.
We are so excited to have you, but ini nyaya yangu kutangira pa nyaya one. Zvine zvambodi kuti munhu ungoita rasta wari musoro ndo zvinozoita vose vari kuzama kuti manzi vafire nhamo dzimwe dzatinoita isusu semacreators. Tomboita zvinhu zvisingahwisisiki kuti unenge uchizama kudii muupenyu.
As musicians, we've always been fashion trenders. We set the pace when it comes to fashion. So it was a fashion statement. Because growing up, my favorite hairstyle has always been dreadlocks, even up to now. But the only disadvantage is right now I'm too old to grow hair. Otherwise, I would be wearing dreadlocks right now. So it was a fashion statement. I was still in school, so it was not allowed to have a full head of dreadlocks. Yeah. So to compensate for that, I had to have one single.
But we know that's not true, right? It's that creative streak that's in you. So we're excited that you took your passion very seriously, but it wasn't always easy. Even when you were setting up bands. My point, yeah,
that's very true. But the advantage I get on my duty before I full time into music, I did a research. And that time it was not easy because there was no Google, there was no Facebook, there was no internet. So I would read any book that I came across, my biographies, Anna Bob Marley, Jimi Hendrix, Chichi. Then when I was talking over magazines, I thought of the music. So at the end of my research, I noticed that around the world, not only in Zimbabwe, around the world, it is very difficult for one to make a breakthrough in the music industry. So Pandagazopinda out face some problems, I was expecting it. And I also everything about the music industry in Zimbabwe. By the time I came in the music industry, I had a lot of knowledge about the music industry, enough to make me tsungirira when things were tough.
Yeah. So when you started doing music, mama kurava mabuki wa mchiwa kuti akure mna unwe Bob Marley asiyanga ne marasa pasara msoro wose akima zake wawo. Were you thinking of music as a business, or like many people who have talents, who are creative, nengo chingoti talenta rangu nofana undipa mari, but were you necessarily already at that time seeing it as a business?
Yeah, I was seeing it as a business already because I had already made my mind, I think around grade 6, that I was going to be a full-time musician after school. Although I know that I knew that my father was very much against it, but I made up my mind already. Right.
So now looking back, kana munu uchida kuzama kuita business because normally our master coach Stephen Chikozho comes through and says you must have a business plan, you must know your target audience. I don't know if that necessarily always applies for us in the creative space, including music as well. Business plan target audience yangu ndivanani vandu kuimbira kana kuti nengo chingoti talenta rangu should be enough, and people will receive it and will make money from it.
Yeah, in the music industry, talent alone is not enough. Talent katorika chibande zoti pa list yangu yezvinoita kuti munhu abudira pa music, talent is not even pa number one. Number one is strategy. You need to be strategic about even genre yauri kuzoita chaicha kuti uda kuita genre ipi yemusic, ende genre yauri kuda kuita yacho ine maadvantages api nema-disadvantages api, so that kana uchishandisa formula also formula A and expect my results a formula B. For example, I was a serious reggae fan. I'm sure you could tell by the hairstyle and the Madrid looks. But after doing my research, I noticed that my chances international very big with a foreign genre are very slim.
Right.
So that's why I changed to my other favorite genre. Because I noticed that of all the artists were international from Zimbabwe, they had one thing in common: they had the Zimbabwean sound.
Right.
So that's strategy number one that I used the pop-up. You could move away from a foreign genre to a local genre. So basically, answering your question, the music industry is all about strategy. It's not about talent. That's why we have people wasina talent but vane mari, people like Jennifer Lopez. I'm trying to avoid my local names because ndikazotakwa wada manje. Saka in the music industry you can make it without talent as long as you win a good strategy. So chekutanga is strategy.
Yeah. And something else that you've picked up that Stephen has also been talking to us a lot about is identifying your. So I appreciate what you're saying, that knowing your niche is equally important. Be clear, have strategy.
That's one mistake these days, because a lot of people I'm a versatile artist, I play everything, I sing everything. That's a recipe for disaster.
Right.
It's the quickest bus that takes you nowhere. You know, every business is a niche. That's why chicken in things boots. It doesn't mean that our consoles things.
Right.
One market today, my fast foods. One other my fast foods where was look at the music industry around the world. It operates with categories. Even my festivals was the biggest. Or the easiest way to break through internationally, especially coming from Africa, is to go through my international festivals.
Right.
Our only festival, not the festival. When the festival, reggae. When my festivals, world music. When my festivals, rock. So as an artist, you need an identity.
Right.
I know we live in a global village, but still the fact that it's a global village doesn't mean that we have to lose our uniqueness.
Right.
You still need to be unique, because on the international stage, one question is uniqueness a lot. Because the music industry, uniqueness sells more than kutogona kwacho.
Yeah.
One something different. I can give an example. One pakapinda mambo tutere pepe. Ango yango rine sound chiri totally different. So it was very easy to notice. Pakas kwa mambo 50 ze black up. Okay, so yako black up means. But ukati pani mambo 50 ze white up. Voice one yako ye black. It's very easy to notice.
Right.
So can you don't notice when the music industry one tip ndekuya with something very different and with a niche.
I love that. And Stephen, and this reminds me of what we've been talking about. You said be first or be better.
Yes.
Usangweta ngombe dzatagwa idzo dzine madomasi atajaira ngoti mese munenge muri murabata wamadomasi rako domasi ndiri kusiyana nsei neramaitsungi neramaita wanda.
That's very
be better or be first. And I think that's what Mono is saying as well. Iwe netalent rako rawo nawo vakawanda vanotora mafoto emuchato vakawanda vanotora mavideo emuchato asi chii chichaita kuti vanhu vasimbirire kuuya kwauri chii chakasiyana chaunenge uchipa vanhu vauri kutarisa kuti vachakupa bhizimusi rako. It's Capitalk 100.4 FM Harare Zapit. It's big business pep talk every single Monday. We are delving into the creative space because I know there are many people like Clive who are talented in some way, and it is possible for you to make a living from your talent. But you cannot do that unless you run it like a business. And as Clive, as you were talking about identity, the word that kept coming in my mind was branding. And I'd imagine, branding, they were not as big as they are now. Were there some ways that you, when you look back, you were actually branding yourself without necessarily saying, did it brand did it brand Folake? But I think you were also branding yourself.
Yeah, at times you know something, but you with the right terms. Branding, but it was brander. So the way I play guitar, one thing that I wanted to brand myself with was having my own sound per guitar, and a sound that I own. What do I mean by that? Kune magitari uti akaunta is a band one for too long. I'm going to tell so one of as Thomas Mofumero. I say identity sound. You are identify with somebody else. But even when I play, you can tell this is mono. Although guitar and is different from Randagari present, it's different from Randagari Zapatoki vibes, and it's different from Randagari Fungisai. But still, one common element, this is mono. So I learned that from Carlos Santana. Because Carlos Santana, even if I play one note, you must tell that it's me. So that's one of my branding.
Where you are standing out from the rest.
Exactly, that's my unique selling point.
Wow. Okay, so 2, 4, 5 tumamka Chikozho guy for like ndinoruka my bags ema cream. I think you said my bags anoruka ne free hand achishandisa ma knitting needle andishandisa ma knitting needles kana crochet. Ndiri kuda kuti ndikurewo, I'm teaching and also taking orders. So somebody in this business, this is already unique. I'm sure but it's already unique. How can someone in this kind of business where we are seeing her creativity stand out? I'm going to give this one to you, Stephen, and then Clive, you can also come in and say, where would she need to go? Stephen.
Yeah, definitely. I think the first thing that I would like to appreciate the listener with is that they've been able to reach out to radio to share what they are doing, and they can also indicate. Now you have got phones, you can take my photos, zvinhu zvaunoruka, my bags ako, you can share them per WhatsApp, uchiratidza vanhu kuti this is what I'm doing, kunana WhatsApp business. There is also vana Facebook and the like, and there are quite a number of groups are not created on my platforms. I've seen women, they are in these groups. Rather than talking gossip, sometimes you can also talk business and try to share the things that you are doing. And now with that focus, you can start to make money. And you'll find that when you do that, the people that you attract, the people that come to you, they become very useful people that then help you monetize what you are doing, rather than kungotaura zvimwe zviya zvisina zvazvinotibatsira in the end.
Clive, mazoma katanga kusina zvana online platforms. Now you are in a very competitive space now, and it's interesting. Some of the world's biggest artists vandonomboona inini unozona phone yanayo pa social media mazono so they price of 1 million chete nokuti vakasarira somewhere somehow in terms of adopting and adapting to online platforms. For you as a musician, especially for someone like our listener, the use of online platforms, how are you capitalizing them in a creative space?
Yeah, online I doubt to pan any producer in Zimbabwe and a guitarist alone trained online more than me, and I'm turning 53. But wapana mading to watches and it's something that we have to take advantage of because the world is always evolving. So ukaramba kuna 1964 hapana munhu achadzoka kubheki usikutora na 1964 kukunza muna 2023 wana unofana kutofambira netime. Ukanini what I do zvinhu zvanoposta zvese ma videos ese, I use my phone to shoot, I use my phone to edit. Andina teams anoya akabata mazikamera vachisikushita nenda katisa phone yangu Samsung jaja, it's not even an iPhone, Samsung shooter. Then I edit
that iPhone is a good phone.
And then I edit ndishandisa phone iyo futi ona saka but ukatasa the content yanoposta it's trending ona saka sekubvunza kwaita amedu ika Stephen ambotaura kuti art yese you have to be seen, nofana kuonekwa ona she must post pa social media chita even my endorsements mama artist anembira aya umpo 1 or 2 things zvaunoningirira naizvo kana iri program yari kutaura whatever, even people like you womention kuti ladies and gentlemen chandakapfeka ichi chakasonwa naningi munokwanisa kumubata pakati unongosina luza pakadaro unongochitomarketa because at times for you to get something you have to lose something unongoluza mbichana but unongochito build as it.
It's 4 minutes before we get to 10, and what an honor it has been hosting our guest of the week right here on Big Business Pep Talk. His name is Clive Mukundu, a prolific music producer. And I'll also have you know that every morning I actually get, I think every day I get a broadcast message.
Every day I post
from
something.
Clive. And you must be seen. And what I love about your messages, Clive, is they are not spam. But yours are not spam.
You don't need to overdo it.
Right.
Because I just send one message.
Right.
Say that per day or in 2 days time. When I also do it every 2 minutes or post Clive,
thank you so much for coming.
Well, it's monosophical. It is what it is. We say it like it.